So I don't know about you, but I've kind of noticed something about Minnesota lately. We never seem to have the right amount of water. I mean, the last couple of years we had a horrible drought and we needed any rain we could get. And we were all really hoping for a big winter where we got a lot of snow. Well, we got the snow, and then this spring we've also gotten a lot of rain. And behind me has become a pretty similar sight if you drive anywhere around Minnesota. We have rivers that are bursting at the seams, the power of water on display, flooding fields, flooding just about anything in its path, and closing lots of roads. So I guess the thing I've learned really about water over the last couple of years is, number one, it's important. I mean, honestly, we need it. We need the right amount. Our farmers need the right amount to be able to do and plant and grow crops. But water's also powerful, especially when there's too much of it, when it's overflowing, when it's in all the places it's not supposed to be. I know for many people that also includes their basements and in their homes. So today what I wanted to talk about was water. And when I think of the Bible, one person I always think of when I think about water is Peter. I mean, come on. Peter started out as a fisherman. Water was his life. It was important. And what's maybe arguably the most important or the most famous story about Peter and water? Him walking on water. He was the disciple who had the faith in Jesus to look at Jesus to say, hey, if you really are God, if you really are Jesus, call me out into the water. And Peter walked on water. But there's one story about Peter that I think a lot of times we forget. It's not in all the Gospels. It isn't one that is commonplace, but it's what happens after Jesus comes back. So Jesus is resurrected from the dead. He's appeared to his disciples a number of times. But then one day the disciples are back fishing. It almost seems like they've gone back to life and doing what they used to do, which for Peter was fishing. So they fish a whole night and they catch nothing. That's right, a group of fishermen who that is their profession catch nothing. Then they see this person on the shore, and the person on the shore says, hey guys, put your net on the other side. So they do that, and what happens? They catch so many fish that their nets are breaking, and then it's of course Peter. Peter recognizes who that is on the shore. It's Jesus. Peter can't even wait to get out of the boat. He jumps out of the boat, he leaves the nets, he leaves all the guys there, and he rushes in to see Jesus. And that brings us to the most important part of our story today. So what happens next is they share breakfast. And then 3 times Jesus asked Peter the same question. Peter, do you love me? Why is Jesus asking Peter that question? Well, it was because Peter was the one who also disowned Jesus. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. 3 times Peter denied even knowing who his Lord was, even though this was the guy who got out of a boat and walked across water because he knew who Jesus was. But in this moment, 3 times, Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? Peter says, yes, of course I love you. And Jesus says, hey, feed my sheep. So why is this story important? What is this story about? Well, this story really, to me, is about forgiveness. Jesus is deeply forgiving Peter of what Peter did, the wrong that Peter had caused. So why is this important in our lives? Well, I think this illustration of water everywhere. There's something kind of bad that happens when we don't forgive others, when we withhold forgiveness, when we struggle to forgive. I think it's a lot like water sitting in a field. It serves as a reminder of something that we can't do, we can't fix. So we need to remember to forgive. We need to remember to forgive everyone as many times as they need to be forgiven. Because you're driving around and you're seeing all the water. May the water remind you of Peter and all of Peter's story, Peter's faith, Peter's just amazing belief in Jesus, but also the forgiveness that Peter needed to receive. Because remember, who was Peter? Peter was the rock that the church was going to be built upon. But before that happened, Peter needed to be forgiven. There's a lot of people in our lives that we need to forgive also. We don't want stagnant water sitting around. We don't want to withhold forgiveness from people who need it. So my challenge or my thought for you this week is forgive. Who are those people in your life who you need to give forgiveness to? Because just like water, forgiveness is important and forgiveness is powerful. God's blessings on your week.